this one. What do you wanna? Very peculiar, don't you think? We're reading to raise the vibrations because, or maybe we should keep it low because there's some extra frequentials out there who might not have access to us at the Earth density. Maybe if we raise it too high, then we'll be in a different domain that we shouldn't be tapping in. I don't know. I've been diving deep in some writings lately, and so it's been getting kind of weird. Anywho, let's finish this Colburn because I accidentally deleted the first half of it, and I had to go back and re-record it again. That's why it's taken us a month to finish this one audio, but I'm gonna read it. Please let me know if the music's too loud or something. Junior, hi. Caleb, how's it going? Phuket, and blessings to everybody. Yeah. Rock your body. Yeah. Everybody. Rock your body right. Do. Back streets back. All right. Let's get cracking. We only have 2 chapters left and we're done with this thing. Oh man, before I start, sorry I'm taking too long, but I'm just really excited. The next book I'm going to be reading, I'm super stoked on. It's not in the mainstream yet, but it's got like, it's all our favorites in a mythological sense, but factually based with like Anunnaki, Atlanteans, Lemurians, Mount Shasta, and what do you call it, Shambhala, like the whole, it's nice. I've vetted this one, and it's a proper one. We need to finish this one and get on to the next, basically. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for lending me your ear. The audio before we start is good. Junior, Pooh Kitten, Caleb. Is the music at any point in capital letters, so I know, because I tend not to read the comments as they come in, but if I see them in all capital letters, that means something is afoot, Keith. Look, come hither. Okay, without further ado, we will get cracking on this one. I actually already started the chapter, so... Oh, whoops. That is not supposed to happen. I already started the chapter, so we won't be starting at the beginning. I started it and I was like, yeah, I'll let the squad in. All right. Here we go. Also, don't know if I said this yet, but we're running this whether the dogs bark or not, so... Truth and justice are but dimly reflected in the writings and laws of men and must be made clear by the light of righteousness within his own heart. The seats of judgment are to be raised above all small thoughts and unworthy aims. If petty-minded men are permitted to argue over the form of sentences or pick out particular words for attention, then there will be no end to pettiness. Let no deduction or interpretation be made from the decrees which alters them. Judge every man with the scales weighed in his favor. Do not be hasty in rendering a decision. Time will make it more just. Be patient and calm in speech, whatever the provocation. The impatient and bad-tempered judge is an unworthy judge who sits astride an untamed horse. The words of a judge must be shaped to fit the ears of his listeners. They must be spoken at the right time and in the right manner. His speech should not be too long or too short, and every word should be well chosen. The frailties of men accompany judges to their seats. Therefore, no judge shall sit in judgment alone. Where no punishment is provided by decree, then the judges shall fix the punishment according to past judgments. Where the words of a decree refer to the man, then woman shall be treated in the same manner, unless it be otherwise stated elsewhere. A child is one whose body has not reached manhood or womanhood. When 2 persons stand before a judge, he should look upon them as they were both likely to be in the wrong, and when they have gone, as though both may have been in the right. The motives of men are many and strange, and even though they bow to the judgment, the dispute between them may not be settled with justice. When a rich man and a poor man come before a judge for a decision between them, he cannot say in his heart, How can I say the poor man is wrong and the rich man is right, and adds to the misery of the poor man? Neither can he say in his heart, How can I say the poor man is right and the rich man is wrong, when the rich man is powerful and may be delivered into his hand? If there is a dispute between men, the judges shall not let one sit and the other stand, or be patient with one and impatient with the other. Both may sit or both may stand, and unless one be afflicted, they shall at times be equal before the judges. We're reading the laws of almost, by the way, which can be anti-riveting at times. But if we're going to do the Colburn justice, we got to get through these chapters. Plus, we're almost done with the book. A judge shall never say anything that will indicate a way to win his favor or to obtain a favorable decision. If all men walked in righteousness, there would be no need of judges to punish the wicked. Therefore, righteousness is more desirable than the laws of men. If all men walked in the light of truth, there would be no need of judges to settle disputes between them. But as men see only a pale reflection of truth, and that distorted by their own understanding of it, there are times when two men in dispute, each believes truly that he is right. It is then they come before the judges, believing them able to see truth more clearly. Let the judges be able to see truth better than any who come before them. When a man comes before the judges, having his life or freedom at stake, or the freedom of one of his family, then the judges shall first hear reasons why they should reconsider him innocent or in the right, and not why they should consider him guilty or in the wrong. Every man who comes before the pillars of the judgment place to bear witness shall be given a drink from the cup of Marat, and shall swear the judgment oath before the shrine and fire. Every man shall be allowed 2 months to discover those who speak for him, and if he asks for another 2 months with reason, it shall not be denied him. These are the decrees of Amos for the children of light. Interesting, this is for the children of light. Notice we have the children of earth, children of man, children of earth, and then we have the children of light, which parallels all the other teachings that talk about the children of light, which, without getting too far into it, as the mythology goes, although I don't feel that word serves justice, Lemurians, Atlanteans were that species created by the Anunnaki who had a little too much of the Anunnaki in them. Those are the ones that frightened them. Those are the ones where the gods came down to see what they were doing, and they said, look what man is capable of when they are united with one language. That's the children of light before the great deluge. So these decrees of Amos that are about to be read right now are for the children of light. It is decreed that no man shall worship in the temple of any god, or stand in homage before any image or idol. No god shall be joined with the supreme deity in worship, and the whole of his devotion and worship shall be given to the Supreme Spirit. It is decreed that no man shall swear an oath in the name of the Supreme Spirit, or in any other name which shall bind him to do anything against the scriptures of the Supreme Spirit. Neither shall he swear an oath which incline his loyalties and obligations away from those who walk in their light. But as kings and governors must be served, and loyalty and obligation together with duty are our declared principles, so swear to serve them well or be faithful to a trust or an obligation is not denied them. The only solemn oath binding upon a man shall be that sworn on his immortal soul. For to swear in the name of the Supreme Spirit is forbidden. It is decreed that no man shall sell or barter spiritual knowledge or knowledge of the great path of the true way. He shall not come into a space. Whoa. No man shall sell or barter spiritual knowledge. Interesting. Think of how many people sell and barter spiritual knowledge today. Whoa. Hello, Piccolo. Careful, Piccolo. He shall not come into a sacred place or enter into prayers while drunk. Neither shall he do these things when unwashed, unless he be a wayfarer or one who has come from a distant place on the same day. If water is unavailable to purify himself, clean sand is not to be despised. It is decreed that all those who truly follow the great path of the true way, and those who are of the brotherhood of men who serve the Supreme Spirit, shall be called the children of light. If any among them shall turn from the children of light through fear of others, then he is unworthy, and shall be cast out. He shall not be numbered among them here or in heaven, where there is a special place for the children of light. But those who remain loyal to the children of light, even though they have to flee to strange places, if they continue to struggle, there is no wrong in them. It is decreed that if a man hear anything about an evil deed or know something about it and fail to disclose the knowledge before a judge or the judge's servant, he shall not go unpunished. It is also decreed, if any man will not bear witness to murder, to theft, or to adultery, he shall not go unpunished. If he bear false witness according to his own understanding, before the flame and shrine, if it be grievous, he shall lose his tongue. It is decreed that if any man make a false accusation of adultery against his wife, without just cause and without her acting indiscreetly, he shall receive 70 lashes. If any man slay another, he shall die, unless it be done in his own defense or in defense of his house and family. He shall not die if he who was slain by an adulterer or a seducer of one within the household of the slayer. It is decreed that if any man slay another in anger during an argument or dispute, and if the fight be fair and equal, then he shall be exiled. If any man slay another by lying in wait, or by guile, or by becoming behind him, he shall not live. It is decreed that revengers of blood shall be appointed by the judges, and no man shall revenge another of his own blood unless he be appointed by the judges. It is decreed that if a man slay another without intent to slay, without hatred or malice, then he shall not die for the slaying. It is decreed that no man shall be put to death by the word of one witness. If a wife cause the death of her husband through neglect or malice, she shall not live. That's funny. If you die and it's your girl's fault, then she dies too. That's by neglect, I should say specifically. Hello, Jessrina Bina. Hello. Come on in, take your shoes off, stay a while. The law of bloodshedding is a free man for a free man, a slave for a slave, and a woman for a woman. The free can be enslaved to repay a death. It is decreed that when a man must die because of his deed, it shall be by the sword, by drowning, or by entombment. A woman shall be smothered or entombed or drowned. It is decreed that if a man strike his father or his mother, or curse them, he shall be seized and sold into slavery, and the money received shall be given to his father and his brothers. But if a man stand between his father and his mother and his sister because he fears for their lives, then he shall not be punished. In this case, the matter shall not fail to come before the judges, for if the father be a man of such violence, how can he claim to be numbered among the children of light? It is decreed that if a man seize upon another to sell him into captivity, he who seizes shall die. If a man smite another so that he lose an eye or a tooth or suffer any wound, and this without provocation, then he who committed the wrong shall make it good in kind, according to the judgment. It is decreed that if the beast of any man injure another man within its own place of confinement, then there shall be no blame upon the owner of the beast. But if the beast be outside its place of confinement and loose, he who owns the beast shall make restitution in kind. If the beast has been savage in times past, and this made known to he who owns it, and it strays beyond the limits of its enclosure to harm a man, then who owns it shall make restitution to threefold the damage. The beast shall also be slain, but the carcass shall belong to he who owned the beast. It is decreed that if a beast stray beyond the limits of its confines in being savage to the knowledge of he who owns it, if it cause the death of any man, then he who owns it shall die. But if it be so decreed by the judges, his life may be ransomed. It is decreed that... Alright, that car's a little too loud. I can do barking dogs now. I can't lower the standards to obnoxious lowriders driving by. That's one I will not lower the standard to. It is decreed that if a man shall cause death or injury to the beast of any man, and the beast be within its proper place of confinement or upon the lands of its owner, then he who caused the death or injury shall make restitution to threefold its value. If the beast be outside the lands of he who owns it, and be the cause of no danger or damage, then he who caused its death shall make restitution to its value. If it was seeming that the beast would be the cause of danger or much damage, then providing there was no evidence but to slay it, there shall be no restitution, but the carcass shall be returned to its owner. It is decreed that if the beast of any man cause the death of another man's beast, then the beast causing death shall be sold, and the money received divided between the owners. But if the beast causing the death was known to be savage, and its owner informed, then he shall make restitution in full to the value of the dead beast, but the carcass shall be his. It is decreed that if a man shall cause anything growing within the pastures of another, or upon his cultivated land, to be damaged by a negligent or purposeful deed, then he shall make restitution twofold its value. If a man find the beast of another man going astray, he shall not pass it unheeded, but shall provide for its return to its owner. Having done this, he shall not lose or go unrewarded. But if the owner of the beast be a poor man, then bear with him. It is decreed that if a man set off a fire, he shall make restitution for whatever it consumes to a like value in kind. But if he be careless or seek to bide his deed, then he shall make restitution twofold. If a thing be scorched, or there is a blackening of wood or stone, the amount to be paid for restitution shall be agreed by the judges. If the fire was caused by accident, then he who caused it shall make restitution to half the value of whatever it consumes. The fire a man handles is like the arrow he shoots, for the bowman is liable, no matter how far his arrow flies. It is decreed that if a man steal any beast or fowl and dispose of it so that it is not recovered, he shall make restitution of threefold its value, and shall not go unpunished. But if the beast or fowl be recovered and restored, then he who stole it shall pay its value, and shall not go unpunished. Is the music coming through on your guys' end? I actually forgot to ask you. to set the vibe. Well, we'll just proceed until something else comes along. All right. Oh, this is actually... Check. That is quite loud, isn't it? I'll turn that down again. Check. Check 1 2. Check mic check. What the heck? 1 2. Check 1 2. Check. All right, there we go. Tis, Seaflower, tis. Okay, my thing cut off on my end. Let's go ahead and... Uh-oh, here comes Atlas. Yes, baby love. Your pizza's in the oven. It's in the oven, baby. Dada, where'd my pizza go? Where's my pizza? Okay, we're gonna leave off that. It is decreed that if the thief is not found, then he who held the thing in safekeeping shall be brought before the judges and questioned about his integrity. If he took the thing for his own use, he shall restore its value twofold and shall not go unpunished. If he dealt with it carelessly, then he shall make restitution of its value. But if he was not careless, he shall not be called upon to do so. But if he were paid for the safekeeping of the thing, then he shall restore its value. That's dope. There's no insurance. It's not like now there's insurance, just the scam of insurance. It's like, no, dude, if I pay you for something and you lose it, then you pay me for it. You don't have, it's like, oh, well, you gotta pay me insurance, then I'll pay you back. Like, it's like, no, fuck that. I pay you for something and you lose it, you're paying me for it. No insurance needed. It is decreed that if any man steal from a house on fire or from a house abandoned by flood, he shall become enslaved to the owner. It is decreed that if a man steal from a temple or holy place, he shall be whipped and sold into slavery and his price given to the temple or holy place. It is... It's like, how loud are those dogs? Now they all bark at the same time. It is decreed that for all manner of disputes regarding beast or anything without life, whether it be lost or not, where different men make claim to own it, the dispute shall be decided by the judges. He whom the judges decide to be wrong shall pay its value to he who was the true owner. If he who is wrong has been malicious or avaricious, then he shall not go unpunished. It is decreed that if a man borrow a beast or anything without life, the owner not being with it, and it be lost or damaged or injured or die, then he who borrowed it shall make good its value. If a man find a thing that was lost and keep it, or he withhold it from another that which is rightly his, then he shall restore it and make payment of its value in kind. If he swear falsely about these things, then he shall make restitution twofold its value. If the thing not be restored, he shall also restore. If the thing be not restored, he shall also restore its value. It is decreed that if a man make a false report regarding another so that he be harmed in substance, then he who did the harming shall make restitution of twofold the amount of damage done, according to the decision of the judges. If he knew not that the report was false, then the judges shall judge him according to his dealings in the matter. If it be done not carelessly and with If it be not done carelessly and with bad intent, then he shall make a smaller payment and shall go to the man he wronged and make amends with words. It is an obligation on every man hearing a report to discover its truth before letting go. Carelessness with words should not go unpunished. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I was counting again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wowzers. Okay. And here we go. It is decreed that if any man bear false witness against another, and he be not otherwise punished, or to a lesser extent, then he shall bear upon himself the punishment he would have brought down upon another, and shall also make payment as the judges decree. It is decreed that if a man take a bribe to turn a judgment, then he and the man who gave it shall make restitution twofold to he who was wronged, and neither shall go unpunished. It is decreed that no man who sits in judgment in any place shall take a gift or benefit from any man because of his position. If any man seeking a decision shall give a gift or benefit to another to speak words in his favor, or shall forbear to do anything that words may be turned, he shall not go unpunished. Lobbying anyone? In other words, you can't lobby, is what they're saying. It's super funny. It is decreed that if a man take advantage of the ignorance of another, or gain advantage from his dealings with an idiot, he shall make threefold restitution. If a man deceive another to his loss, or take anything from him by violence or threats, he shall make threefold restitution. It is a decree that if a man declare a falsehood to the loss of another, the loss shall be made made good in kind. The loss shall be made good in kind twice its value. If a man deceive another who has entrusted him with goods, he shall make twofold restitution. If a man deliver a beast or a thing without life, making payment to another who deals with them, if the one who deals with them or carries them loses them or fails to deliver, he shall make a restitution of their value. If he be found careless in his dealings by the judges, he shall make restitution of twice their value. But if he be waylaid or struck by powers above man, he shall not make any payment. It is decreed that if a scribe alter a record or make a false writing, he shall be punished with 30 lashes. If a man suffer loss because of the scribe, the loss shall be made good by twice its value. He who does wrong or causes any loss, be it done with purpose or without purpose, and seeks to blame another who is innocent, shall bear the guilt of his deed. He shall not go unpunished for his deceit, and shall make payment to the man he sought to blame. It is decreed that if a man have a maidservant or slave, and he seek to give her his son in marriage, he shall deal with her as a daughter. If he smite a manservant or a maidservant, so that they lose blood or cannot move about, or if they suffer pain for 3 days, he shall be brought before the judges, and they shall decide upon his dealings and bring justice to the one injured. It shall be within the power of the judges to free a slave from an unworthy master and place him with another, either as a slave or a free man. Justice and truth are not in the safekeeping of judges. They are to those who sit in judgment, as the sun is to the other men. Every man who comes before the judges should walk in the light of truth and justice, even though he speak against himself or against those of his own blood. The man who bears witness should take no heed whether he be on the side of the rich or the poor. He should not follow the road of passion or the paths of his own prejudices, lest he lose the guiding light of truth. The man who hides within himself knowledge that would assist the cause of justice and truth inflicts an injustice upon his own soul. A too hasty decision by the judges often inclines towards injustice. Therefore, when the judges have heard all and every word has been spoken by those who have a right to speak, the judges shall retire and pray. Each should say within his heart, I will consider my words carefully before I speak, and they will be uttered in the purity of truth, untainted by falsity or hypocrisy. I will not be harsh in my judgment, and it will be bent towards a benefit rather than a loss. My speech will be directed towards the safeguarding of others and be without any taint of malice or evil intent. End chapter 5. Great, we have one chapter left. Caleb. You should orate the oldest Black's Law dictionary you can find. I'm not sure I can handle that. I'm dying. This last chapter is not at all entertaining. And some of it doesn't even make sense. Some of these laws are like, what? Mostly they make sense. But like the one about like if you let your spouse die because you didn't feed them, then you have to die too. Like, come on, bro. You like if my girl didn't cook me dinner and I died as a result of that, or you know what I mean, or like I was malnourished because she wasn't feeding me when I'm unless you can't take care of, unless you let someone die, like, all right, that's neglect. But the laws against women were pretty harsh back then. Notice how it didn't say anything about men. I was like, it was strictly because they're not, like, trust me, when they mean woman, they say woman in this text. When they say man, they mean man. That's the weird thing. It's like, all right, relax, you guys. You can feed your damn self. You don't have to kill your wife if she doesn't take care of you. Like, give me a break. Anyway, some of them are good. Regardless, we're done with that chapter, and I think we only have one more. Let's see, what chapter do we have left? 7. Moons, myths, and man. That's right. Talking about where the moon came from, and the you guys know that the Atlanteans and Lemurians were the pre-lunar societies, and the moon was brought here in part to, basically as a watchtower, and also to influence the frequencies of the Earth. It wasn't the main purpose, but it was used that way eventually, for good or for bad. That's what the next book is that we're going to be reading. It's pretty dope. It's super dope. Oh, nice. All right, Seaflower, noted. Our next book is going to be, I'm getting away from the laws. There's way too many laws and stuff with the Colburn Bible. Like half of it is laws. It's like, oh my God, come on. Can't we just stick with the golden one? Treat others as you wish to be treated? I guess there has to be how you get in trouble if you don't follow the laws, which I guess is pretty important. Like, if you kill someone, this is what happens to you, for example. Thanks, Seaflower. Thanks, Seaflower. Appreciate that. I do. It's that, and it's also like, do you guys want to hear it? Because half of what I'm doing is providing a vibe, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like maybe I can just do these copyright laws on my own and not on a live. I just didn't want to be alone this time. I was like, who wants to hang out while we do a live? This one's going to take forever. Or you do it, Seaflower. What's up? Nice. Nice. You should. You should. You should. Only one law. OBZRB, what's up? Wait, hold on. What did I say? Chapter 7? Is that what we're on now? The rolls of records. So more records. Pretty much all of the Colburn Bible Book 4 was laws and records. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think we got more. Well, you want more technical writing, Seaflower? You got it. Ask and ye shall receive. Ask and ye shall receive. Where are we? Okay, chapter 7. Chapter 7. The Rolls of Record 1. By the hand of Robin, son of Hezekiah, who was the bowman of God, and brought the children of light to the land of mists. Hezekiah was a mighty man whose bow shafts struck like the lightning flash, and his enemies went down like corn before the reapers. He was a captain of men in the war of gods, and those he slew were numbered like barley in the measure. His enemies were spread before him like a carpet at his feet, and there was none other like him. He was a man who knew the all-might of God, and looked up to him as the God of his fathers. But Hezekiah worshipped him after the customs of his people, and therefore knew truth only in part, for having stolen him, they were unable to know him fully. Now the days of fighting were past, and Hezekiah and those who remained alive with him slept in strange places, for they were sought by the king who had been victorious. His wives and his children and all his household dwelt at Kadesh against the mountain, and awaited his coming there. But he came not while being sought by the king. So it came to pass that his brother Esaias, who held stewardship over all his household and his possessions, seeing that Hezekiah could not come unto this place, possessed himself of them. Esaias had the ear of those in high places, and Hezekiah lost his birthright. So all that was Hezekiah's passed into the possession of his brother Esaias. He took even the wives of Hezekiah, for such was the decree of the king. But Athaliah, the first of the wives of Hezekiah, spurned Esaias and called him down the wrath of Yahweh. And Esaias was afraid and did not possess her. When they saw this, the other wives, being jealous of her, for she was ever in high favor with Hezekiah, stirred Esaias up against her. They mocked him, saying, Are you truly the master here, or are there fruits you cannot pluck? So Esaias sought to take Athaliah by strength, and she strove against him, and his manhood was hurt, so that he did not take her. Then Esaias had her bound, and her hands were tied for 7 days, so that she could not of herself either eat or drink or do the things required by her body. She was humiliated, and her womanhood betrayed. For an idiot man attended her wants, and he mocked her modesty, and she was tormented by her needs. Then on the 7th day she was brought forth by Esaias to trial, and she was stripped and lashed, and her hair was burnt off. She was branded on the face, and her lips and tongue were cut. She was given a robe and a pitcher of water and dried fruits and flour. She was driven forth by Esaias, who said, "Go, woman, and perhaps should you even find him, Hezekiah will be Should you ever find him, Hezekiah will understand your babble." I remember this chapter. This was kind of a sad one. Hezekiah, so it's pronounced, so it's like this: Hezekiah and Esaias. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Hezekiah and Esaias. Let's see. Where was I? I lost my spot. Alright. Athaliah went out into the wilderness to die, and at night she fell in pain and weariness under an elan tree and lay there. In anguish she cried out unto her God and cast her soul from her, that she might not feel pain. And her soul found Hezekiah. As it became light next day, Athaliah awoke and praised God, saying, "I have slept amid my pain, for God is good and merciful. And I know that Hezekiah yet lives in a far-off place, but my soul and my God will lead me to him." And she went, guided by her soul. On the same night Hezekiah lay in a cavern amid mountains, but he slept not. For one had come bearing tidings of his brother, saying, "Esaias has possessed himself of all that was once yours. Even your wives has he taken, and between you and he are many men who would slay you." As Hezekiah lay thus in agony of spirit, it came to pass that he felt the presence of Athaliah's soul, and peace came upon him, and he slept. And as he slept, he dreamed, and in his dreams Athaliah stood at his feet, fairer than he had ever known her. And she said, "All is not lost unto you, for I come seeking you in the wilderness, and I will find you, so be at peace." And Hezekiah awoke refreshed and strong in spirit. And he came down from the mountains and over the wilderness, came to the place of bitter waters, where men find refuge. And men were hiding there from the wrath of the king. Hezekiah inquired of them, saying, "You have come from many places. Which of you has seen a woman seeking me?" They said, "No woman travels abroad on such a quest. Or has she many attendants, and what is her appearances?" And Hezekiah said, "She is fair as the dawning, with hair like the raven's wing, and skin like fine oil. Her touch is like cool waters, and her bearing like the gazelle." Then the men mocked him and talked much, saying, "How long would such as one as you describe travel alone? It is not in the nature of women to leave their household and come into the wilderness. Would any man pass her by? Who then now possesses her? Seek her not in the wilderness, for she is not clad in fine linen and perfumed with sweet-smelling oils." Then Hezekiah took counsel with himself and said, "I am indeed a fool who chases dreams. This is no time for dreaming when there is a man's task at hand." So in the morning he said to those with him, "I go up against my brother." But they pleaded with him, "Have you a host of men or even a company? Abandon such foolishness." Now, at that time Athaliah dwelt beneath a mountain where there was a spring, for she was weary from days' journeying, and she was sick in spirit, for men, when she came among them, beat her with sticks and drove her from the place of their habitations. She offended their eyes, and none desired her. No man came to the spring, for it was an accursed place where voices came from the rocks, and the dead spoke. Therefore it is called the audience chamber of the dead, and none but witches go there, for these the dead do not harm. Now when night fell, Hezekiah slept, and those with him were not watchful. And evil men said among themselves, "Let us slay Hezekiah in the night, for he has gold and silver and spoils of war with him. Let us cut off his head and carry it to his brother, that we may be rewarded and made welcome." So it came to pass that in the morning hours of the night men came to fall upon Hezekiah, and those with him to slay them. But one among them was heavy-footed, and Hezekiah awoke as they fell upon him, and he seized his sword, and leaping up as a lion springs to smote about him, and there was a slaughter. But he was without helmet, and his head was bare, and so he was wounded. They who came against him died or fled, but of those with him just one remained, and he sorely wounded. In the morning they left with their asses laden, and Hezekiah held his bow, and none came near him. And as the sun mounted on the high, the sight departed from the eyes of Hezekiah, and he became blind. So Hezekiah and he who was his companion abandoned hope, for there were men who would destroy them, for there were men who could destroy them in front and behind, and the wilderness enclosed about them. They said, "Let us therefore go to the place called the audience chamber of the dead, which is by our side, for we are not as those already dead. There we shall find water to quench our thirsts and soothe our wounds as we end our days." And as they entered the pass at the place where the waters entered the sand, the companion of Hezekiah died. Hezekiah heard voices of the dead calling him from among the mountains, and he arose and said, "Behold, I come, for this is my hour." And he passed up the watercourse. So it was that being blind, he dashed against the rocks and fell to the ground, and lay there as one already dead. Now, on that day, the soul of Athaliah was troubled. She wandered about, straying from her tasks. She looked up, saw a raven descending from out of the sky, and her soul said unto her, "Behold, it comes for the soul of Hezekiah, for he is nearby and close to death." So Athaliah sped away, guided by the bird. She came upon Hezekiah as his soul was preparing to depart, and she took him in her arms. Lifting his head, gave him water, and her soul communed with his soul and bade it to stay, and because of the bond between them, it did. And she remained with him 3 days, and built a bower and ministered to him, but he lay as one already dead. On the 3rd day, as the sun prepared to enter into his night's kingdom, Hezekiah stirred. He groaned in anguish from his wounds, and Athaliah comforted him, and he slept in silence. What the heck? It's weird. Like my eyes just bugged out. I totally lost my spot and I can't find it again. Did that line just disappear? Or did I read something out of context and then lose place? That was really weird. Wow. So I guess when it became light next day, he awoke and felt Athaliah's touch upon him. And Hezekiah knew her and said, "Athaliah, are you there? How came you to this place and found me in my hour of need?" But Athaliah answered not because of her tongue, and she drew a veil around her face, for she knew not that Hezekiah was blind. She wept, and her tears fell upon his face, and he held on to her, for her hands told him that she could not speak to him as she once did. And he said, "I am blind and cannot see." but she drew not the veil, for she feared for him when his hands sought to be his highs. Days passed, and Hezekiah grew strong, and he knew the tale of his brother's deeds, and swore vengeance in the name of his God. He said, "For this purpose life has been left to me." And Athaliah grieved that he spoke thus, for he could not walk without her. The waters of the valley were cool, and there were herbs and wild fruits and goats upon the mountainside. So it came to pass that after many days Hezekiah was whole and strong again. But he remained blind, so he could not see Athaliah, and therefore she remained fair in his eyes. But the soft speech was gone from her. And this Hezekiah did not mind, for what he heard daily was the speech which greeted him as he lay in her arms before she knew he had come back to life. Hezekiah and Athaliah were no longer troubled by the voices among the rocks, for no harm was done to them in this place. And when Hezekiah became strong again, he desired to go far from that place, and fretted to be gone. But Athaliah bade him stay. She said, "You are blind, and therefore like a child. And will we not die of hunger in the wilderness, or be slain by men who seek after you? Let us stay here." And Hezekiah listened to her words, for it was not unpleasant in this place. And it came to pass that one day, as Athaliah gathered herbs in the valley, she espied a stranger drinking at the waters, and he was weak and weary from much journeying. And she took Hezekiah, and together they went up to the stranger, and Hezekiah greeted him, saying, "May the peace of God be with you, master. How may we serve you?" The stranger answered them, saying, "I am Locus, son of the fire bird and physician to the king of Tyre. I have traveled from afar to this place, and I may hear the wisdom of the dead. I came to talk with my soul in solitude, for I am weary of the ways of men. I no longer seek to be the companion of those in high places who concern themselves overmuch with wars and the affairs of men." Hezekiah knew Locus for a magician of great renown. Hezekiah dwelt in a cave in the mountainside by the waters of a spring which came forth from a smaller cave nearby. The land before the caves was flat, and there were ancient gardens and enclosures. Beyond these were trees. When Locus had been brought to the abode of Hezekiah, to the place where he camped, he was given food and rested. Then Hezekiah said unto him, "You are great even among great magicians, for your magic is greater even than the magic of Egypt. I beg you, master, look with pity upon my blindness, for it makes me even as a child." Trash trucks coming by. I'll use that to take a quick water break. What's cracking? Sky is? What? Come on, Trash truck's almost there. How you guys doing? How you holding up? How is the world out there? It's 2:50 as we read this Colburn Bible. Just in time, because everyone's gonna get out of work in the next hour or so, and it's gonna be Lowrider Central. Lowrider Central. Dogs and mailmen, and you know how it goes. So maybe we found our sweet spot from like 12 to 3, and then of course from like 7 to 10 we can do all our recording. Sea flower. Thanks for the tidbits, Piccolo. Yes, that's me playing the music piccolo. It's me on the piano. It's me on the 88 black and whites. That is I. The flute is not me. The piano is. Okay, the truck's gone by. Let us carry on. I, who am a man among men and have a man's task before me. Pray, therefore, cast magic with fire, that I may be made whole again. Locus said unto Hezekiah, Is this then the one desire of your heart? Is there not in heaven or earth you desire more? Hezekiah said, There is naught above this. Then Locus spoke to Athaliah, saying, What is your desire? Is it that you may be as you once were? And Athaliah said, This indeed I do desire, I especially for the sake of my Lord. But master, above all, I desire that he may see again. But oh, let not his eyes lead him from me to destruction. Locus said to Athaliah, You know what his eyes will see. She answered, Let his eyes see what they will, but let them see. Locus said unto her, So it shall be, for you have but one desire between you. I will make a covenant with Hezekiah, so that his eyes may see again. This is the covenant, that Hezekiah will stay in this place until Athaliah has borne him a son, and until 6 months after his son's weaning, he will sit at my feet and absorb my instruction. Then Athaliah said unto Locus, Master, when he is no longer blind and sees me as I am, will not the burden of the covenant be too great for him? Locus answered, He has more than 2 eyes. Locus took Hezekiah and cast a spell upon him so that he fell asleep. And Locus opened his head and let out the evil which blinded him and encased his head in clay. Then the demon might not resume its residence, and Hezekiah was left asleep for 6 days and 6 nights. Hold on, I think that might be a little too much dog barking. We could do the 1s and 2s here and there, but... Seaflower, I don't have a channel where I share my music. Should I? I actually just got a baby grand piano too. I've had a baby grand. I bought it when I was like 17 because I was just stoked on the piano, or like 18 or something like that. And my dad was like, get this goddamn thing out of my house. We're remodeling our kitchen. So I was like, all right, fine. And now it's crammed in our little bungalow here. But I have it back, so I've been playing a lot of piano again on the baby grand. So I'll do some stuff for you guys. Maybe I'll set it up. Maybe I'll do some music playing. I don't feel like starting up a whole another friggin' YouTube channel, but maybe I can somehow incorporate it into the Man of Letters brand. I'm not sure. Piano is searching. Yeah. So what I did with that piano that you guys are listening to is I was playing music. So the piano that's in the Emerald Tablets is the same exact track you're listening to now. I'll listen to the text, like after I'm done recording, done editing, I go and I sit at my piano and I listen back to the text, and I'll play piano according to what I'm reading. So it's like, if it's happy, I'll change it to like a major key. If it's sad, I'll change it to a minor key. If it's like, and I'll just I'll play according to whatever's being read. And so that's why sometimes the music doesn't always match up. It's like really dark and it's just a beautiful piano going in the background, so it doesn't fit. But I'm too late. I'm not going to make one for everything, and I mean, so I just keep running the same one over and over again. Some soft rain and scenery, some deep quotes. All right, Seaflower, I got you. Damn, it's getting noisy. The trash trucks are coming. The cars are firing up. It's almost 3 o'clock, so maybe that's why. But hold on, let's just let this trash truck go by. doing some editing since I'm already here. Might as well. Give me a sec. Go ahead, cut that off. Cool. Put that back there. And music is spiritual. That is using the feminine energy. I would say for specifically for me, I use both the masculine and feminine when I'm playing music. Especially when I'm writing music and I'll have a structure. I'll be like, I'm going to write it about this. This is the feeling I want to portray. This is how it's going to start. This is how it's going to end. And then the feminine sort of creativity, that's where like my melody will come from. That's where the feel, that's where the swing, that's where the tempo will come from. But the initial spark idea, my design of a song is usually, I'll try to include both the masculine and the feminine, in the generation of my music. But I know a lot of people who don't want any boundaries on their music, and they just like let shit fly, which is super dope too. It's all magical. All right, we're gonna keep going. Actually, before we start, do you guys want me to? But that loop is over. It's only like a 45-minute loop. Should I put some lo-fi to change up the vibe a little bit? So we're not just daduked fluted to death, or do you want to just keep running that same vibe we've been doing? You tell me. We don't have many options to choose from. We have like lo-fi, and we have our piano jams, and we have our daduk flute. Yeah, freestyle is great, Piccolo. Freestyles, I honestly, some of the most magical things come through freestyling. Freestyle, let you get to see parts of yourself where you're like, whoa, I didn't even know that was there. That freestyle is beautiful. That feminine, that pure potential chaos that comes out of the feminine is quite beautiful. It's quite beautiful. Nice, Piccolo. Nice. Sounds good. Energy speaks. Does that mean same thing? All right, I'll see if I can find the piano for you guys. It's at the back end of this. Something's wrong with my streaming software. I'm listening to the same track you guys are, but I can't listen to it at the same time. I have to listen to my track on iTunes, and because for whatever reason, it's just not. It doesn't put the music in my monitors. It gives it to you guys. I'm glad you can hear it, but I can't hear it, so I got to go listen to it manually through iTunes. So you tell me if you can hear the song or not. Basically, is what I'm getting at. Do you hear piano? Are you hearing piano right now, or are you hearing flute right now? That track is 28 minutes. No, that's not right. Yeah, it's 28 minutes in. Which means so I can start my track at about 28 minutes in. Que no? Que sí? Well, we're gonna play it from there. You're getting the tail end of flute, and then it'll kick into the piano within the next 10 minutes or so. All right, let us continue. I hear dadukes. You're getting the dadukes, Seaflower. On the 7th day, Hezekiah awoke, and behold, he was no longer blind. And he called for Athaliah, but she came not unto him. Then Hezekiah cried, I see, but the woman is not here. Is this not a time for rejoicing? But lo, she stays away. Locust says unto him, It is the manner of women. Let her be. And when night came, Athelia came, and sat at the feet of Hezekiah, and said unto him, It is well, my lord, and my heart rejoices. Hezekiah, stretching out his hand, caught hold of Athelia, saying unto Locus, Long have I been with this woman, and I was blinded that I could not see her face. Now I say, Bring me my torch quickly, that I may look upon the face I desire to see with all my heart. And Athelia, bowing her head, remained cold and still beside Hezekiah, the veil held before her face. Locus, placing the torch aside, drew the veil and lifted her head towards the light, and the woman looked up fearfully. Hezekiah looked long upon her in silence. Then he lifted her towards him and kissed her face. Wife of my bosom, the years have taken nothing from the loveliness of your youth. And Athelia fell before him in a swoon. That is just almost makes me cry hearing that. It's like this woman loves the shit out of her man and is so sad that, God, I don't know if you guys caught this, if you're just tuning in. Homeboy Hezekiah's brothers just went dark side, exiled homeboy, took all of his wives. Athelia, who we're reading about, was Queen Bee, and she didn't want to sleep with him. She was like, fuck you, bro. Like, I want nothing to do with you. Homeboy, hella pissed, burnt her hair off, didn't shave her head, burnt her hair off. So I'm assuming her scalp is scarred enough to where her hair can't grow back. Cut her tongue off, or did mauled her tongue almost beyond being able to understand what she's saying, and like burned her lips, just absolutely destroyed her face. And she sees this man. She sees this wandering magician, Locus, who's probably some kind of demon, because he's like, I'll hook you up, but I need your firstborn son, which is literally what he said. He's like, when your firstborn is 6 months after the breast, like, he's gonna sit at my feet and I'm gonna teach him. So like, she basically traded their firstborn son for the gifts that he gave them. And she was like, yeah, I want to look how I once did, but even more than that, I want to give my husband his sight back. Like, homies, this woman is Jesus. Come on, man. Like, the main character of this whole story should be the woman. This woman is beyond any human I think I've ever read about, for the most part. And she goes, yeah, I want to look like myself, but I'm actually going to give my wish to homeboy. And homeboy and wandering demon dude goes, all right, so it is. Gives homeboy his sight back, and she's like, damn, now he's going to see my hideous face. And here comes a moment of truth. She pulls back the veil, and he goes, my love, the years have done nothing to the beauty of your youth. And it's just like, oh man. And she swoons. Literally the word is, and she falls into a swoon. Like, that's just the goddamn sweetest thing I ever done and did read. Is it not? Is it not? Claro que sí. Claro que sí. Okay. Well. Damn, I forgot to click when I started talking right there, which means I'm going to have to go back and find where I left off. Oh, well. I got to remember to use this clicker. Let's continue. On the seventh day... Wait, I already saw that. Swoon. Now, when morning came, Locus sat outside the cave, and Athelia came, and kneeling before him, said, Great master, what magic have you wrought? The waters do not lie, yet my lord sees me not as they. And Locus answered her, saying, Nor does the soul he. There's a lot of typos in this edit, so I can't tell if it's just like weird ancient talk or an actual typo. Nor does the soul see, but the eyes of men are deceivers and not to be trusted. One desire only have I granted, for my magic has not touched you. Hezekiah sees indeed, but if he sees not wholly with his eyes and in part with his heart, seeing not with the eyes of other men, then perhaps my magic is imperfect, and I am not the greatest of magicians. Unnumbered days passed, and Athaliah was first delivered of a daughter and then of a son. And Hezekiah sat before Lucas and received his instruction. And many books were... Stupid ass fucking car. The dumbass exhaust. Come on, you guys. And Hezekiah sat before Lucas and received his instruction. And many books were opened unto him. He learned the mysteries of the secret way and the songs of the fire. He knew the wisdom that had come down through the ages. And so it came to pass that one day Hezekiah went unto Lucas and said, All that has been done that the covenant required. And Lucas answered him, saying, It is well. Prepare now to follow the path of your destiny. Then Hezekiah took Athaliah and his son and his daughter, and with Lucas passed out into the wilderness. And when they came to the habitations of men, Athaliah was veiled. And Lucas journeyed as a great magician, following his stars, and Hezekiah served him as though his slave. Thus came to the lands held by Esaias, and Lucas made masks of animal skin, with tree gum and clay. He gave them to Hezekiah and Athaliah. He then clothed them in strange garments and dyed their skins, saying, And men expect all things of a magician, and make no query concerning the strange things they see about him. Therefore, let not the men of this place be disappointed in my attendance. I like this guy's style. He's like, hey, we ball, dude, so let's not disappoint them. My servant's got a ball too. He's all, we're weird, baby, let's do it. To Hezekiah, he said, Be as one dumb, for your tongue would betray you to those we come against in this place. And Hezekiah answered, My tongue shall be dead in its place. In this manner they came before Esaias. Esaias had looked well upon the flesh pots, and his body was filled with fat. He was clad in fine linen from Egypt and perfumed. Hezekiah said within himself, Can this be the son of my father and the companion of my childhood? It is truly written in the hands of a weakling, gold churns to fat. Lucas spoke unto Esaias, saying, Lord, I have come far, and therefore beg that I and my servants be given food and drink and a place to lay our heads. I am a magician of magicians. I am a magician of magicians, and a physician of physicians. Mayhap there are those within your household who are sick or possessed by demons, whom I may serve. Or may I enliven your leisure with wonders and magic, and show you strange things beyond the understanding of men? Esaias said unto Lucas, Remain with us, for there is little pleasure here. If you enliven your days, you serve us well. If you enliven our days, then you serve us well. So it came to pass that Esaias prepared a great feast, to which came many lords with their households. The fame of Lucas had spread from afar, for he had healed the sick and cast out demons and shown many wonders beyond the understanding of men. And among those who came were many who knew Hezekiah. When the day of the great feast came, there was much feasting and much merrymaking, and Lucas worked great wonders, so that all men acclaimed his magic. And there were games and feats of strength and dancing. When night had fallen, great fires were lit and many torches. How loud is that dog for you guys? I want to keep going, but I don't know how. That dog is particularly close, so I just want to set a standard. If that's too good, then we can keep running it in the future. So if you could comment real back, the dog that just barked, how loud was it? Not that loud. Great, we're running it. Thank you, Seaflower. Tables were spread with all manner of good things, and the guests assembled within the great courtyard. Esaias sat beneath the tall sycamore tree, and before him was a table laden with every kind of meat. There were breads and sweet things and spices in abundance, and Esaias was sitting among half-men and wanton women, and with him were gluttons and drunkards. There was much loud laughter in their company, and many sly gestures. There were singing women and dancing girls. There were half-men who performed as women, and the night was heavy with the sense of wickedness. And the night was heavy with the sense of wickedness. The feasting and dancing went on well into the night, and Locus displayed his powers before the assembly. When the clamor was at its height, Esaias spoke to Locus, saying, "Show us now the greatest of your wonders, which we have not yet seen. Let the night be more enlivened." So Locus stood before them, and lo, before their eyes he changes stones into gold and a dog into an ass. He drew wine and milk from an empty pitcher and caused a rod to become a snake. Turned a rod into a snake. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Moses? Standing before a table that was bare, he drew all manner of foods and wines out of the air and furnished it for a splendid repast. Then he called Hezekiah as his slave, and stood a comely maiden before him. And Hezekiah shot arrows into her, and they stood out from her body, so that there was not space for a man to place his hand, and the blood flowed down her robe as though she stood in a rainstorm of it, before she sank to the ground and lay there dead before them. Then Locus went up to her, and after wrenching the arrows from out of her body, threw a cloak over it. The arrows he carried to Esaias and those about him. "See the blood of the maiden?" And they held the arrows and looked at them. And behold, as they held the arrows and looked, the blood went from them, and the arrows were clean. And Locus cried out in a loud voice, "Lo, behold, the blood returns." Then passing over unto the maiden, he lifted the cloak off her, and behold, as he did, the robe became clean again. Locus took her by the hand and said unto her, "Arise." And she arose and stood before Esaias. And he was silent, and those about him did not speak. Casting aside her garment, which was the outer robe, the maiden danced before the gathering, and all there wondered greatly, for her body was unmarked. Esaias spoke to Locus, saying, "How can such things be? What manner of magic is this?" "Locus," he answered, "Lord, your eyes saw as I bid them to see. For I am a master of men's hearts, not the master of flesh and wood. The eye is the greatest of deceivers. It is the magic of Egypt which undid the work of the Ethiopian's bow." And Esaias said, "Who is this Ethiopian who stands there so strangely garbed? It is indeed a bowman among bowmen to loose his arrows, so that one has scarcely struck ere another left the bow. Has Ram-Sfamishel come among us?" Locus answered, "Lord, he comes from beyond the land of the elephants, and the place where the earth tips over. The magic is in his bow, which can shoot at a wild ass and bring down a lion." So saying, Locus took up a clay pot and stood it upon a table. And Hezekiah, standing off, loosed an arrow at it, and the pot was shattered, and as it fell apart, lo and behold, a silver pot appeared in its place. And those who saw these things were amazed, and spoke one to the other about the magic of Locus. One among the gathering, a speechmaker, stood up and spoke words praising the magic of Locus, but Esaias sat quiet, deep in thought. Then bidding Locus come to his side, Esaias said, "This night I have seen with my own eyes a maiden slain with arrows and raised from the sleep of death. I have seen the magic of the bow change clay to silver. Is then your magic great enough to change age into youth and weakness into strength?" It is said that the greatest of magicians can do even this. And Locust lifted himself and said, "Even this I can do." Then there was much whispering back and forth and talk among those who sat about Esaias. They stood in the place of his favor and said, "Master, this is the hour. Let the magic of this great magician cast the years from off. Let the magic of this great magician cast the years from off your back and renew the vigor of youth." And while they spoke, there was much whispering and sly laughter among the half-men. Locust stepped back from the presence of Esaias, and he raised his left hand. And there were loud thunders. He raised his right hand, and fire leapt forth from the ground, and a great cloud of smoke went up. And he said unto Esaias, "Great Esaias, this is your hour. You are the Lord of this land and place, and therefore command as you will. Already the night is more than half spent and speeds to its closing. Hear now my words. This I say unto you. Enter now into my magic tent, which stands strangely adorned over against the edge of the feasting place, the tent wherefrom I issue forth my magic, to which I return to replenish my strength, and when it is done, therefore is the fount of my magic, the hub of the great circle of power. Remain in there until the first red glow from the fires. Look with pity upon my blindness, for it makes me even as a child, I who am a man among men and have a man's task before me. Pray, therefore, cast magic with fire. I clicked the wrong button. What in God's name just happened? I went backwards instead of forward. Whoops. Remain in there until the first red glow from the fires. The first red glow from the fires of the underworld appears in the night sky. Then, Lord, I will come into the tent, and standing against it will call forth the Lord of this place. Damn it. Then, Lord, I will come into the tent, and standing against it will call forth the Lord of this land and place. And behold, a new Lord will stand before the gathering in manly strength and vigor, a man among men and a fitting master for this household. He will be such a man that I, even I, Locust, the master of magic, will be the first to proclaim him. So Esaias entered into the tent of Locust the magician, and as he passed within, Locust gave him the great bow of Esaias, saying, "Take this with you, for its magic is great and may be well needed. It is a worthy weapon for the Lord of this land." Then the gathering spoke amongst themselves and waited. Singing women whiled away the hours, and as the first arrows of morning light struck the night sky, Locust arose and stood against the tent of magic. Lifting up the door, he cried out in a loud voice, "Great Lord of these lands and place, come forth to your heritage. Behold your Lord." And as he spoke, lo, Esaias stepped forth into the morning light, arrayed as a lord and girded about with belt and sword. He wore a helmet, and in his hand was the great bow. The sound of a great sigh passed through the gathering, and men looked one at the other. They were bemused, not knowing what to do, for there was magic about them. And Locust lifted up his voice in the silence and cried, "Behold, I have brought forth a man among men as Lord of these lands and place. Will you not therefore receive him?" Motorcycle Man decides to come by. I won't. I'll do dog barks now, but I will not do Motorcycle Man either. Will you not therefore receive him in a befitting manner? And men spoke among themselves, saying, "This is one having the appearance of Hezekiah, whom..." Stupid ass motorcycle. "This is one having the appearance of Hezekiah, whom we know, in truth, the Lord of these lands and place. He is a man indeed, if it be he. Has magic drawn him back from the grave? Or has the spirit of Esaias clothed itself in the form of Hezekiah? Then first one and then another hailed the man before them, saying, This is a man among men, if not our lord Hezekiah. And then a great shout of Hezekiah went up, and Hezekiah stood stern before them. Now there were those among the gathering who stood silent, the half men and wanton women who were about the table where Esaias had been, sat pale and silent, clinging to each other. They said to themselves, If indeed this be Hezekiah, where then is our lord Esaias? A man stood up among the gathering, shouting, This is not Esaias transformed by magic, but Hezekiah, who with this evil magician has worked a trick. Esaias is not transformed, but murdered. Let him be avenged. And reaching back, he took a javelin and sought to hurl it at Hezekiah, but the bow in hand of Hezekiah bent, and before the javelin could be sped, an arrow pierced the man's throat. Then the bow sang twice more before the enemies of Hezekiah departed. Motorcycle man's coming back. Hold on. I can feel him coming back. Couldn't you hear the motorcycle? I have to stop anyways for the motorcycle. It's so loud, like it throws off my, like frazzles my brain. So I kind of got to start over. The rain is coming again. You guys been raining so much in California. It is wild how much rain we've been getting. Concerning you, it is well that I go now and dally not unduly here, for mayhap as things are, he will lend a willing ear to my words. But if I dally here with you, others will gain his ear with another account. So Locust departed, and Hezekiah was grieved. Before he left, Locust was given horses and servants, also slaves and asses with food for the journey. And the Locust said to Hezekiah, We shall meet again, for it is decreed in the book of heaven. Athaliah came before Hezekiah many times and said, Lord, let me depart from your residence and dwell in a place not too far off. And Hezekiah was perplexed within himself because of her manner of speech, for he did not understand what she wanted. He said, Have no fear for the women of my household, for there is none I desire but you. And it came to pass that on his way to the king, Locust was stricken with a sickness and lay as one already dead. And for many days his soul was prepared for departure. While he lay sick, the power that bound the eyes of Hezekiah became weakened, and the eyes of Hezekiah were no longer bound. Hezekiah purged his household and spent the days dealing with his estates, and his lands flourished. His servants no longer bickered among themselves as before, and contentment reigned within his shadow. So when many days had passed and all things were ordered, Hezekiah called his steward and said unto him, Let a feast be prepared. As the land has given generously to me, so will I give no less generously. Hezekiah said this, and it was done. Now there was a woman called Miriam of the household of Esaias, who was fair to behold, and she sought the favor of Hezekiah. And among the women there was much talk of Athaliah, who remained ever veiled, for there were those among the women who knew her. But none spoke to Hezekiah, for he was a man who talked a little with women, and Athaliah stood first in his eyes. Miriam had not seen the degradation of Athaliah, nor had she seen her unveiled. But it came to pass that she spied upon Athaliah one day while she was about her toilet, and seeing her unveiled, Miriam took counsel with herself. Now the day of feasting came, and many were the guests, but of half men and one. Come on, we're almost done with the chapter. But of half men and wanton women there were none. And among the women Athaliah sat apart, and among the men there was much talk of riches and battles and of spoils of war and husbandry. Among the guests was a young lord who sought the favors of Miriam. And while the feasting and dancing were at their height, they came. And while the feasting and dancing were at their height, they came one to the other. And as they dallied beyond the torchlight, Miriam said unto him, Am I fair indeed? And he answered her, saying, You are fair even among the fairest. Then she said to him, Yet there is one more fair by far, so fair that she needs go veiled before men. She is Athaliah, wife of Hezekiah, who keeps her thus. He fears for himself and does not trust her, for this is his weakness. And Miriam moved away from the young lord, saying, Go, look upon her face, and if you can then say, I am the fairest of the fair, I shall know that your heart speaks sincerely of itself, and not at the behest of your body. The young lord returned to the feasting and sat in a place nearby to Hezekiah, and spoke to those about him, saying, Have any among you seen a woman here who rivals the fairest bearers of myrtle and palm? And the man rebuked him, saying, It is not meet to talk thus about the women of a household wherein you are a guest. Are they to be judged as are women of the night? But the tongue of the young lord was not stayed, and he replied, That which causes talk will be talked about. And Hezekiah heard him and was angry, and said, What in my household moves foolish tongues to gossip? The young lord said, That which a man tries to conceal ever arouses the interests of others. Does any man conceal that of which he is proud? And Hezekiah looked about him, saying, This talk I do not understand. The young lord said, My lord, men talk of what lies beneath the veil of the woman you brought here. Is she indeed as fair as men say, or is there truth even in the gossip of women? And those who knew about the degradation of Athaliah muttered among themselves, for her secret could not be kept hidden. They said, This is loose talk and wicked. Let the evil which belongs to the past remain buried. Does this concern any man but Hezekiah? Are we among women that the talk should be thus? Is our custom to be lightly set aside? Let the veil remain. But Hezekiah, hearing the muttering, thought wrongly of what was said, and he spoke to the young lord, saying, This woman is fair as few women are fair. Should I not know? This you shall indeed see for yourself. And Hezekiah said within himself, Long enough have I indulged Athaliah her whims. Does a pearl give pleasure within its shell? And Hezekiah sent his attendant for her. So Athaliah came with her handmaiden, and Miriam came too and stood close behind. Athaliah stood before Hezekiah and said, My lord, what is it you wish? I don't like this part. And he said to her, Woman, remove your veil. And Athaliah put her hand to the veil and pleaded with him, saying, My lord, there are many men here, and strangers. There is a custom of my people by which I must abide. Men, hearing her voice, looked one at another, and the oldest among them said to Hezekiah, Let the woman be, for this is of no importance and of no interest to us. Allow her the whim, for such is the nature of women. Shall we deny them their small pleasures? Athaliah inclined her head towards the man who spoke, and as she did so, Miriam stepped forward and caught hold of the veil, snatching it aside. And the stricken face of Athaliah was revealed to the gathering. All men were silent and still, like statues. And Hezekiah looked at Athaliah, and she at him. And Hezekiah saw her as she was. And Athaliah knew what he saw. Then came the voice of the young lord, saying, Behold, the pearl of Hezekiah. And Hezekiah turned upon him in a rage, and killed him. Hezekiah turns to Athaliah, who stood still and alone, saying, What evil has been wrought here? Begone, take your face from me. Athaliah went out between the gathering. Passing into her bedchamber, she took a draught of poison. Her handmaiden sped to Hezekiah, saying, "Come, my lord, my mistress dies." Then Hezekiah, his heart filled with remorse, sped to Athaliah, and as he came unto her, she died. Hezekiah wept over her, and his heart was filled with grief. And he looked upon the body of Athaliah and said, "I have slain the life within my own heart. I have slain the one who cherished me in my blindness, the one who loved beyond the bounds of love." In his anguish, the eye of his soul was opened, and saw the soul of Athaliah standing nearby. Hezekiah was dazzled by the vision of her beauty, for she was radiant as the sun. He stretched out his hands toward her, but he could not touch her, for she was beyond the reach of earthly things. And she took her head at him, and raising her hand, departed to the antechamber of eternity. Hezekiah raised himself up and strode out from the chamber, but he returned not again to the place of feasting. He sorrowed for many days. Now, while Hezekiah still sorrowed, word came to him that a company of men was coming against him. And he sent out his servants with laden asses and went forth himself. And with his true men he prepared a place on the heights above the road, to meet those who came to take him. Hezekiah met them with arrows and with stones, and left them with their dead. Hezekiah and those with him passed out into the wilderness and lived there many days. And it came to pass that word came to him of locusts, and he arose and went into the land of the sons of fire, passing into Tyre as a merchant from Keyth. So it came about that Hezekiah came with his sons of the children of light on ships of Arad, by way of Hannibal and Bisonias, where there were many temples. The ships made one harvest towards the land of the trees, where the great river flows to the west, and his sons he left in Tyre, that they might receive instruction in the household of locusts. Hezekiah governed many years in the land of mists, and made laws, and died in his old age. And he was buried by the river where the ground rises, beneath stones and soil carried in many baskets. A fence was made, and trees which still grow set about the place. When Hezekiah came here, he had been 44 years on earth, and 65 years passed before he died. May his God fulfill his hopes. Rabin, the son of Hezekiah, was born of a daughter from the house of locusts in this land. All right. That was a super long chapter and got kind of sad towards the end there. That last chapter was 55 minutes long. It took us 55 minutes to read that chapter. Wowzers. Almost cheered up a little bit at the end of that there. How you guys feeling? You still with us? Do we still have people in the room? Hello. Hi. We're finally done. We're finally done with the Colburn Bible Book 4. We had to read it 1.5 times. Yeah, Seaflower, we did and do need the rain. We'll take all of it. What did you mean by master of the eye? Energy speaks. Oh, Locust. It's funny. Kind of sounds like Loki, who was also a god of illusion. Loki, Locust. Interesting. Well, greetings, everyone. I see you have taken your shoes off. You have stayed a while. I will begin editing this. I should have this edited by tonight. And should I just throw the music up? Also, I mean, there's only 5 of you here, but when this video is released, every single one of you 5 people or whoever is in here, even though you've already listened to the text, open it the day I launch it, and even if you have it playing in the background with the volume down, let it run. Help us get that algorithm. We got to get that algorithm. Thank you, Jesus. Cheers, Seaflower. Cheers. Piccolo, you still here? Energy Speaks, you still here? Who we got in the who's chilling in the room? Where are my wallflowers at? Oh, Shalvit Israel. Hello, everybody. Shalvit Israel. Wait a minute. Is that done? Yeah, that's done. Thank you guys for hanging out. Shalvit, Piccolo, Seaflower, Energy Speaks. Those of you who can't get to the text screen at the moment, thank you guys for chilling and hanging out. Thank you for your support of the channel and listening to the videos. Thanks for liking the video. Now, if you have 14 likes with 5 people in here, that's good. That's awesome. Maybe they're AI. Hey, as long as AI boosts the algorithm, the more the merrier. More the merrier. Our next book that we're reading is going to be, I guess we can change the vibe. All right, I got you guys. We're gonna I'll change the vibe up for you. Don't you even worry. Let's do this. Discard, and then I'll give a little prelude to the next text that we're going to be reading. Media source, media circus. Where was I? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, that's kind of loud. Sorry. I am studying while I hear. What are you studying, Piccolo? Or I'm gonna pull up the next book that we're gonna read. We're not doing Colburn Bible Book 5. You know, there's still like 5 more books in the Colburn Bible. This thing's it's like reading the actual Bible. So I'm sorry, but I gotta space it out. I hope I can read this. Alright, you guys could have taken a better picture of that. Alright, so we're going to learn some alternate theories about the origin of the moon, according to recent astronomers, etc. The book is called Moons, Myths, and Man, published in 1936. And we're going to run this one. It doesn't seem to be too long. The bodies that escape out of the rotating pseudo disk form a broad belt of small suns which belongs genetically, though not gravitationally, to our solar system, the side of our telescope galaxies. Yeah. Anywho, do a new live. I don't think I'm gonna read that right now. I need to take a break. We want me to read to you more, don't you, Seaflower? You just want me to keep on reading to you. Just keep on keeping on, huh? I love it. I would love to continue reading, but let me stretch my legs. Let me stretch my legs a bit. And then maybe we'll come back tonight and do some more lives. But thank you guys for chilling while you did. Please remember to like the channel, subscribe if you are a new one in here. Feel free to support on the Patreon if you would like. Remember, there's discounts on my Etsy shop on the Patreon. If you're on the Patreon, you get discounts on mana letters, beeswax candles. We haven't been selling any candles. You know those pyramid candles we sell on the Etsy shop? They were flying off the shelves a couple years ago, but now there's like 50 people on Etsy selling that have gotten that same mold and slanging them, and so I'm just like pages down the search results for my pyramid candles. Anywho, we have our beeswax candles. You get discounts on if you sign up to the Patreon. If you're into, I'm gonna be getting more of my exotic seeds back up now that it's spring. My copal seeds, my white sage, black sage, my frankincense seeds. All that stuff's up on the Etsy shop. If you're into plants, if you're into exotic plants, that is. But yeah. So possibly tonight I will get back on. Oh, you're working, Seaflower? Nice. And Piccolo is studying. Dope. Alright, well, I'll see you guys soon, okay? Thanks for chilling, sis.